our Wednesday webinars. We call it Zipinar for Let Us Talk It, as we try to zip in two topics in just 1 hour. So you get the bliss of knowledge in a short period of time. So we aim to reduce the time you take in the knowledge, and but increasing the amount of information that you get from this Zipinars. So this event is made possible by Cogent Integrated Business Solutions, who is an IT company and does development, applications, web development, and other IT management and applications. And they are in collaboration with big IT companies in the United States as well. And they wanted to create an empowered and informed community through this Zipinars. So we are hoping that you join and continue to support this Zipinars that we do and keep appearing every Wednesday at this time. So today we have two new topics with two new speakers that will be sharing their experience firsthand of the area of their expertise and with the topics that they will be discussing today. So we are very excited to hear those topics. But beforehand, we would like to give you the first topic today, which is drive business results by benchmarking your star performers. So this will be delivered by Jamie Torchiana, which is a president of Exemplary Performance, where she lives her dharma of amplifying individual talent and driving high performance teams to greater organizational success. And she considers herself lucky to have found these opportunities within Fortune 100 and 500 companies in industries spanning retail, pharmaceutical, global banking, media, sports, broadcasting, high tech, and logistics. And she is also an athlete, a duathlon and athlete for Team USA. So such a great sporting women. And about the topic, it is discussing about the gap between your best and good performers impacts your bottom line more than anyone could think. So on the backdrop of a contracting economy, we would learn exemplary performance approach to uncovering the secret sauce of your top performers and using it to inspire a new level of performance in all. And without further ado, let's have Jamie with us to discuss the topic.
All right. Thank you so much for that introduction. I promise I will live up to it. That's great. And I really do appreciate your help getting this website up and servicing your clients that come to really amass a lot of information in a little bit of time. So here we go. Assuming you can hear my voice and see my screen, we're going to talk about elevating organizational, team, and individual performance. It is one of my favorite topics, and hopefully because you've enrolled in this webinar, you'd like to learn more about it as well. So we're here to kind of debunk the myth that high performance is easy to recognize and hard to replicate. In fact, during the short time, which I do hope is interactive, we aim to create three things with you. One, we're going to discuss excellence as a strategy. Two, I'm going to share our experience that we can replicate what your best performers do in terms of their impact to the bottom line. And it does matter and impact your bottom line, maybe more than you would think. We'll do an exercise together to prove that. And that our approach works regardless of industry, role, and team, and is a great solution, especially for high-tech industries that are contracting a little bit. We've heard, we've seen, and maybe personally been affected by the layoffs. So how can a company achieve its earnings, achieve its business goals with even the same steady headcount or even headcount reduction? This mechanism has proven helpful, and we've helped our clients do just that. And we'll keep it interactive. I'd love to know your thoughts on this presentation and these concepts. So do me a favor and imagine the best person that you've ever worked with. We're going to talk about the essence of making what they do transferable and transparent so you can get more people working like them to their level. This first example is a pharmaceutical client of ours. She's a sales rep. She's located in Florida and has her Doctor of Pharmacy degree. And as you see here, she has 40% market share of her particular drug sales, where the national average is 11. She also has many accolades, Chairman's Club Elite. That means she's gone to Presidents of Excellence and Circle of Excellence awards the past 3 years running. And that's just a smattering of the 23 awards that you could find on her LinkedIn profile. So she's very, very well thought of. However, I'd like you to think about some of these bullets that I have here. She has the same access to her company's coaching materials, her marketing. She attends the same industry training, and her manager is one of the best managers in the company, but he has 7 other direct reports. So clearly Stephanie is a superstar and she's doing something unique despite taking advantage of all these things that are available to everyone else. So something else is at play. Take, for instance, Joe also, who works for the #1 agreement, cloud-based agreement company. He's out west here, and as we look at the United States, and he's a lead technical support engineer. He's been with his particular company for 4 years and has gotten promoted every year. So certainly tenure or length of time in your position is not an indicator of being a superstar. He also handles the gnarliest cases. He ends up writing code. He's their Salesforce integration expert, and he often holds lunch and learns to bring his colleagues' knowledge and level of proficiency up to his own. And he uses the same tools that the company provides. So it's not like he's using different diagnostic to save these tests, but he's clearly a superstar. So I'd like to open it up, either come off mute, or you can type in the chat and we'll get some help kind of sourcing these answers. What makes these folks the best? So you can think of that. Think of someone that you've worked with, that made them the best. Maybe you've never thought about it before. And what would be the material impact to your bottom line and your customers if you had more folks on your team like these two? So I'll pause here, and maybe you have fast fingers. You want to type in the chat why you think that they're so special. I'll give you a moment to do so. Anything coming in the chat feed so far?
There is no chat feed, but in my opinion, what makes them the best could be their principles and how they do their work.
Yes, and you're cheating a little bit because you're majoring in psychology in college in your curriculum, so you know a little bit about industrial psychology. Yes, something is at play, and I can appreciate if folks just are traveling and don't want to come through or take themselves off of mute. So we're going to talk about this, but please be prepared. I've saved ample time for questions and answers to discuss this in detail. But you're exactly.
We have from Srini, the CEO of Cogent. He mentioned focus on teamwork and best practices.
Yes, best practices, and I even like to call them repeatable practices, because best assumes maybe you've hit an asymptote where maybe you can't get better from that, but repeatable practices for sure. And really capturing and distilling what these stars do and cascading that through your organization is the surest way to increase and improve the behavior of those folks. So that's great. Thank you for that contribution. That's excellent. And feel free to interrupt me at any time. We'll find logical places to start. So, I did mention, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Under the question and answer, there is Harry, commitment and trust, he said.
Yes, commitment and trust. There's a tenacity and a persistence. And I will add, there is something that we call unconscious competence. So when I interviewed Joe and I worked with Stephanie, you ask them what makes them so great, and all of them say, I'm just doing my job. It comes with a humility that they believe that everyone is approaching their job as they are, which in fact is not true. So we make the model of high performance transparent and transferable to the rest of the employees within that role. And that's how we're able to drive success. We essentially do market research on your best people, and I'll explain that here in a moment. But here's an ROI calculation example that came from a retail customer of ours. It is in the home improvement retailer space, and this was their flooring salesman. So across the United States, they have 400 people that sell floors, commercial, residential flooring projects, and their quota is $1 million. A few of the superstars produce, you see, $1.5 million. So you can calculate that delta. And on our website, we have an ROI calculator tool so that you could do this for the pivotal roles within your organization. But their leader believed that they could close that gap between the best and the rest by 20%, or just selling one more flooring job. So if everyone had $100,000 more in sales, you see the ROI. It was astronomical. So when you look at this in this way, the gap between your best and your rest, it does make an impact to your bottom line. So here's where we get to see the shift of the performance organization. The gap between your best and the rest is huge. And the truth is that stars emerge regardless of role, regardless of industry, we've seen this, and regardless of organizational size. And we're actually doing this with teams that collaborate, whether it's a proposal team, whether it's a technical team that works together and pulls in different things for an account, for an example. So this principle has remained true regardless of the application piece. And since this gap exists, it proves that our training alone is not enough. All you have to do is look at your 2022 training budgets and know that despite that best intention and best investment, you still have this gap. That means we're requiring a different approach to do this, and ours is grounded in behavioral science. And really, if you want that different outcome, we need a different approach. So our approach is differentiated in that we study your stars. And when we do that, two things tend to happen. The width of this curve narrows, meaning that you have more predictable performance, and you get a shift in the standard that you accept. So you have more employees performing like your stars. So, and you're able to create more Stephanies and Joes, so it impacts your bottom line. Moving the middle is really the way forward in terms of on the backdrop of this economy and really how you're tasked with driving organizational outcomes with the same or even, unfortunately, less people. So this is a Fortune 100 and 500 approach. These are some of the clients we've had the pleasure of working with in various capacities and roles and organizations with individual contributors as well as teams. And cogent by its nature, its definition, right, means clear, logical, rational, very convincing. So I'm going to check you after this slide to see if this methodology makes true, because it's a little bit different than the traditional ways of thinking of things. If you look at the top arrows, the typical approach to performance looks at how are people equipped, what are their behaviors, what are their competencies. There's a big push now in learning and development for skill sets. How are you going to equip folks to perform their tasks that lead to business outcomes? We're unique at Exemplary Performance because we actually reverse engineer the process. We start with the business outcomes a role has to produce, and then we unwind right to left to see then what are the skills and the attributes that you listed that your stars are performing. Unless it's tied to business outcomes, we're never going to move that needle. So I'll pause here because I realize that's probably a mental model or a construct that's a little bit different. Certainly our clients have said that. They say, oh, you're the difference that makes a difference. But I'll pause and invite any comments or questions through chat, or even taking yourself off of mute to say, does this reverse engineering process, is it cogent? Is it clear, logical, rational, and convincing? Any thoughts on these so far?
Checking on chat.
Okay, and you can call me crazy because that's happened too. And it's cool if we save our questions to the end as well.
Yeah, nothing on chat yet.
Okay, so in the interest of time, and if you're not commuting someplace, you're going to want to write this down because this is our process to doing just the process that yields us the best ROI and the business impact. This is how we execute. Remember on the previous slide, I said we start with the business outcomes. So first, identify that, create that stakeholder alignment, and understand what is needed from a roles production. What are the KPIs, key performing indicators? Some organizations have OKRs, objectives, and key results. What are your dashboard metrics that are moving the needle for a particular role? Then identify your top performers. Who are your stars that both qualitatively and quantitatively are hitting those? And I'll give you a clue here. Not everyone, not every star is performing all areas to a high degree. So when we look at this, we come up with maybe 5 to 7 outcomes or accomplishments that matter to the business. And some stars are good in 2 and 3. The others, are great in different skill sets. So you need a composite of your top performers. Maybe one is really good with the client outcome. Maybe one has really deep subject matter expertise. Maybe one person develops a high-performing team. You'd love to collaborate and bring all of those together into a new standard for the role and what you're holding up as excellence. So once you identify your top performers, you're going to discover the secret sauce and validate that. So through case-based analysis, walk us through your latest client pitch and presentation that you won, or a competitive displacement, or that really tough technical case that you were able to troubleshoot and help technically for a customer. Through those insights, we develop this profile, and then we equip all of your employees to perform like that. By equipping them with performance support, job aids, sometimes it's e-learning, sometimes it's not training. And then it's very critical that we prove impact. We tie it back to the business results, your KPIs, what drives your organization, so that we can prove a positive ROI. So that's really the step that you could take within your own organization to start to put these principles and approach in practice. So that's it. I know your time is valuable. I know there's a guest speaker that's going to take the second half of our time together. And I did leave ample time to have some Q&A and really get your impressions on the approach that I just shared. I realize that it could be a different construct than you're used to. So I just welcome now some time for Q&A and to learn your feelings and thoughts on the topic.
Thank you so much. That was a great discussion. And yeah, we encourage attendees to provide their point of views with regards to the ideas being shared. So, we have from Srini, great crisp session.
Srini, thank you.
And said he would love to see how we can apply such ideas. Yes.
Terrific. So I'll leave this how you do it up. And it is about a 6 to 8 week process, depending upon the availability of your top performers for interviewers. So it is something that can happen in a relatively quick time when you're comparing it against other training and development deliverables. We've had people here, our clients use guest speakers, they have national meetings and they have workshops, and they try to move the needle on certain metrics, and they just throw good money after bad. And they've just been so pleased with our approach, and their verbatims have been, wow, not only is this relatively quick of a solution, but it's one that's been enduring, and the ROI is just way too positive. So in about 6 to 8 weeks, you can have the diagnostic piece done, at which point we recommend what performance age and what things we can take from your STARS mental model to make them, replicable.
Yeah, that sounds good, Jamie. Thank you so much. And is it all on Zoom, like virtual, or in person also?
It can be. It depends on the nature and the line of your work. COVID really forced us to be virtual. If it's something that's very technical, like we work with oil refineries and watching the gauges, if there's something that requires an observational component, certainly we will be on site through interviews and observations. A lot of it, though, is case-based analysis, and we can do that remotely, one-on-one through your top performer interviews. Just getting a sense of decoding, again, their mental model and their approach to work, that can be done virtual. So it's really the customer's requirements. We've worked globally with global banks, depending on the nature and the industry. So it's really, really how we scope the project together.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
That was great. And yes, I do not have any other chat so far. I was checking on the live platforms as well. So it must be that very crisp and very clearly delivered with such ideas that's been provided. So how do they, if anyone would like to get in touch with you offline, how would they get in touch with you? And
Sure. So you can visit our website at exemplaryperformance.com. There you can experiment with the ROI calculator tool. It's right on our homepage, just below the centerfold. So you can really experience what that would be like if you have a role in mind. And I'm really prolific on LinkedIn. I have a monthly newsletter that I write called The Positive Deviant. So please feel free to subscribe to that and send that throughout your company, because that's ideas, tips, and tricks. And some back strategies to really get at this. So if it's something that resonates with you, I'd welcome to talk it through and how it would work through at your organization. So LinkedIn, you can email me that way as well. My contact information is there. That's probably the best approach. And then our website for more information. We do have books on the topic. My mentor, who I acquired Exemplary Performance from, has written 2 great books called Exemplary Performance. So they're available on our website and also on Amazon to get more of the methodology and the academic rigor behind really our approach and why it's had such tremendous impact with our clients.
that's perfect. Wow. So thank you so much for that one. So you really have taken care of that such valuable information in a short period of time. So very capsulized data. So okay, so just for those who have joined late and have watched late, like is there a summary or to sum up the very big keys on this topic that you have shared with us today?
Sure. So I'll go back to really our outcomes, and then I have a couple more slides if people are interested in this. We can certainly talk through them, but excellence can be a strategy, and it's probably your most enduring strategy. So our experience is that you can replicate those best people that you've worked with. And we all have someone in mind. Maybe it was a best teammate or the best manager you ever had. And you think, oh, my life would be so much easier if I could just clone them. Well, essentially, that's what we do at Exemplary Performance. We can replicate the achievements that they're providing for your company. So from that perspective, top performance matters. And that gap between your best and your rest does impact your bottom line probably more than you gave thought to before we started talking about that today. And that this is an approach that has worked regardless of industry, role, and the size of the team. So that's just some quick bullets of what we talked about if you were late to join. But I can share some additional slides since we have some time. And that really is our approach. And I'll share with you that, what happens with this process. Certainly we work with the top performers. They develop this role excellence profiles based upon what your stars do. And it has the unintended consequence of actually keeping them within the organization, because you're showing that you value them and that they're enrolled in creating the high standard. So we've seen that folks like the Stephanie and Joe that I talked about at the top of the call actually get better, and they validate their outcomes, and they're more willing to stay with the organization because they feel a sense of being heard and being valued. For the majority of your employees, we call that the frozen middle, we then can develop training and development that's very targeted to where they need to move the needle to get closer to performing like their stars. So we equip them for success, and then they start to adopt that mindset that your top performers have. Then you have candidates, we're able to produce a job description, a hiring guide, and a coaching guide, so that really when you have an opening for a role, and not many people do right now with the looming recession, but if you're hiring a new candidate, you can make sure that they're a proper fit and have that mental model that emulates your stars. So then you can have targeted onboarding that allows them to decrease the ramp up time so they're more proficient in their role faster. So this is just one piece of our proprietary exemplary performance system that we look at. And just with the time permitting, I'll just end here, that sometimes we double down on training and development. And we really put a lot of our budget, energy, intention, and effort behind training and development. But you'll see that's just one of the 6 levers of human performance. So really, when we work with individuals and teams and organizations, we're looking at the balance of these 6 wheels. And just like the 6 spokes of a bicycle wheel, we need them all operating optimally for optimal performance. And training and development is just one of them. You see the other 5 are job fit and capacity. So if you don't hire the right person in, that's going to be a limiting factor in terms of achieving your organizational outcome. Systems, resources, and environments. We've all lived here where maybe our expense reporting system leaves a lot to be desired, or our time tracking program or our tech system is not optimal and actually creates a barrier to productivity. Expectations and feedback, your coaching and performance management system should be aligned to really what the best do, as well as rewards, recognition, consequences. And then below the line, you see what the person brings to the job. So that's not only the training that we talked about, but the motivation and preferences as well. So we look with really a broad lens on these areas of performance that we've come to be experts in to really help your company achieve the bottom line based upon what your stars do. So hopefully that's additional context. I put the slides in there. I wasn't sure where the time would take us today, but you got even more than the standard presentation, and I welcome any thoughts and or perspectives based upon what was shared.
Thank you. That was a great one.
Thank you for sticking around. Yes, thanks, Srini. I appreciate it.
That was awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that additional details for the presentation today. So it's really appreciated. Well, thank you so much. And yes, I see no comments or questions or or hands being risen to interact. So that was well understood and very clear. Thank you so much again. So we can move to the next topic of today. Perfect. Already. Okay. So we have Sumit with us. Let me just put a little intro for the topic. So we have our next topic who will be discussing about following your intuition. So it says, what is intuition and how we are derived by it? So this will be given by Sumit Sharma, which is a senior operations manager with an experience of 12 plus years, wherein he had been responsible for steering high impact, complex, and transformational projects. He has also undertook his journey where he was exposed to various inter and intrapersonal skills, along with development of operational, HR, logistics, and survival skills under tough environment conditions. And also, he is an engineer graduate and presently pursuing a specialized certificate program in global supply chain management and master's in business operation. What a handful person that we have today. And without further ado, I'll have him put some introductions for himself as well, and for to deliver the topic, we have Sumit Sharma.
Hi, Faiz. Thanks for introducing me that way. And very first, thank you, Jimmy, for such a great insight in how to retain your employees and the potential what we have in the organization. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you're audible.
Sure. So moving on to the next topic, what I'd like to cover on is the following your intuition, because that is something where it is a very common phenomena which we all follow, and unfortunately or fortunately we don't understand, or we don't think of how the things are happening. So without much of a wasting time, I'll just share my screen, proceed ahead. I hope the screen is visible.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So moving on to what pursuing your inner instincts or intuition, what generally we think of, what is actually it is. Anyone from the audience, what they feel, that what is intuition, how you are pursuing it. have ever we given a thought?
Intuition is some sort of like a knowledge that you have experienced firsthand before, and then when something came up, you seem to think of it's a little the same, and it's like it to give you a gut feeling that you have learned already that kind of that part of that situation.
Exactly brought out that whatever we are going to do, we have some idea that it may unfold in this particular way, but we never realize how that idea has moved in. It is something we just do it, but have ever we given a thought that how that idea has moved in, how that idea got clicked, whether this thing can happen or this cannot happen, that an employee can turn up bad or good, or some event can go successful or unsuccessful, how the things happen. It is some relation, there are correlations to it, there are a number of things which keep on working around it. So proceeding ahead, so like Albert Einstein said that intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and reflective or rational mind is a faithful servant. And we have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. And it's actually true that we had always been doing the things on the data, whatever data is available to us, and whatever things are happening in our surroundings, we keep moving with that. But sometimes we forget that that data is not only being that data is not only driving the things, it is certain more things which are clubbed with it or doing something at the back end of that particular data, and then the things are moving ahead, and that is what we are generally not taking care of. So like intuition, what we understand about it, the first thing is how the thing should be. For an example, let's say if we move to our homes, the basic example, we get into our home and then we see particular thing, we always first thing gets clicked to us is this the thing placed right in a right fashion, is it going on a different way, or it is placed where it is supposed to be, or it is the right way of putting it. There are certain norms, like a painting, we always place it in a straightforward manner, either it is a perpendicular or in a horizontal fashion, but is it necessary to be placed that way? It is something like, yes, it is the pattern, it is something, it is the right way of doing it, but generally we don't think of those things. The voice that guides the situation, and we don't overthink about it. Whatever thing I have gotten into my head or in my mind or in my heart, that yes, this is the way I should go about, like pursuing your own career. I may be interested in some particular field, so it is my inner voice which is giving me an indication ki, yes, please proceed ahead on this particular field, that you will be able to do good. We don't have anything behind it, no data, no nothing, no previous feedbacks, no previous knowledge, nothing we have. It is just our own intuition which is playing around and which keeps us telling ki, yes, you can move, you can do good on this particular field, and we don't overthink on it. We don't give a single thought on that. Yes, we collect certain facts and figures so that we can proceed ahead, but we don't think again and again on particular thing, particular topic. And this is that the word, the line itself says it is the only thing which you can only understand. You cannot explain it to anybody, you cannot tell it to anybody how the things will come up, how the things will unfold. It is your own experiences which comes up, that if it is going good, that is again with, it is with you. If it is going bad, then
Summit, excuse. Yes. Did we lost Summit?
Anybody had an intuition that this would happen today?
I didn't have a clue. Sorry about that. But yeah, we'll check with them. Mm. All right. Well, for the viewers, thank you for understanding. And there is a technical difficulty, so we're not it's not very intuitive with us of thinking that he might lose the connection. But yeah, he should be back in a few.
Yeah, maybe while Sumit comes back, I think, yeah, we can probably talk about the previous topic if Jamie is still available.
Yes.
I'm still here. Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, Jamie, one question I had was, do you deal with only clients in USA?
No, not at all. The global bank that you saw was based out of the UK and we did 75 roles that were all over the place. So no, we're global. We've had a lot of experience doing that.
Okay. And typically your customers are like, do you have, small SMBs as well, or only large corporates, or how does that work, your customer profile?
Sure. So customer profile, the CEOs and executives that get it quickly and see a fast certainly are larger organizations because they can replicate this across maybe 6,000 salespeople in a role per se. However, we're working now with our local community bank, which just has 3 branches. So from that perspective, we scale down to meet the needs of the SMB market, because that's really the backbone of the economy. So we can flex this. Unfortunately, the process and the diagnostics, are the time that it takes, but the benefits still can be realized regardless of the size of company.
Oh, got it. Yeah. And where are you based out of again currently?
Oh, I didn't say. So yeah, so it's, I am based out of Philadelphia, and we have teammates in Annapolis. So we're in the Mid-Atlantic area. And but like I said, our customers are all over the place, all over the US, and we have done some global work.
Oh, great to know that. Yeah, one of our director is from Philly as well. So definitely, yeah, we will stay in touch with you. Yeah.
Oh, I look forward to that. Thank you. I'm glad you could grab some value from what we shared on the first half of today.
Definitely, yeah. So Manu, you have any questions? Anything related to, the 2 topics of today's Zipinar? Jamie, I have another, question. It's not related to really, I think probably not today's topic.
Sure.
But, what I was thinking is, LetUsTalkIt, tries to help, a lot of startup companies, and we are building a very strong ecosystem. And each of these, each of these startups, have their own project management. And the startups could be from various domains. They have their own project management and their own teamwork and philosophies and styles, right? And most of the times there could be some information that could be shared, among all these teams and the best practices and things like that, right? So if there is anything related to specifically startup companies, probably they cannot afford so much, for such programs that you are offering, but um, there is a lot of need for them to be efficient, and they have a shorter time window and always struggling with the funds, things like that, right? So if anything that you can think of for startup ecosystems, that is something we can definitely explore as well.
I love that idea. Thank you for surfacing that. And I think that's brilliant, only because in our work with startups, or not only, but they're looking for role clarity. They have to assemble things quickly, and usually the owners or the innovators have an idea of what they need from a role. So we're working with someone right now, smallish side. I would say they doubled to 90 people the past 2 years. So they started with 20 to 40 employees. And role clarity and how that's changing in order to take themselves to the next stage is really challenging for them. So I think we can kind of think through, what are the best practices or repeatable practices? What do all startups need regardless of industry? Because role clarity and a vision and a mission and values seem to be where there's the greatest need. And sometimes what you do in a startup in the first year or even first 6 months is not the role that you ultimately fulfill, because there's just a lot of it's very dynamic, right? Very flexible and adaptable. So maybe there is something there. I'm going to give careful thought to that, and maybe it's retrospectively Paul and I looking back at our data to see, really, are there not generic profiles, but how can we help in terms of the quick recruitment and staffing and onboard that would drive some role clarity that would help you hit your capital goals more quickly. I love that concept, and I think that's great. But does that role clarity kind of resonate with you in terms of where people kind of might struggle as teams start to norm and form and come together in an entrepreneurial way?
Yeah, definitely. I think, in fact, yeah, they'll be playing multiple roles, simultaneously, and sometimes they may not realize, how it is affecting the growth curve of the company. There are so many efficiencies that can be brought to the table.
Certainly. Yes, that's my homework. I'll take that away to give some thought to that, because we are helping one smaller client do that now as they shift and prepare for scalability. So those processes now are coming into place, a little bit more structure, so they can elevate to the next level they envision for themselves. And yes, it's quite a departure from where they all started. Noted, and the scrabbling that you hear is me taking notes to kind of think this through to a greater extent. Thank you for that.
Oh, that is efficient. That is good. And yeah, other than on the bigger scale, I just want to share my personal experience that, other than, technology, business, and then community empowerment and startups. Right now, I'm venturing into something interesting, which is my passion. That is the food industry. So I recently purchased one restaurant, which is a vegetarian and vegan friendly in Michigan. And now we are on to our second venture, which is a tropical restaurant specializing on Caribbean, Hawaiian, and all the tropical cuisine. So suddenly it's like a shift for me into the food industry. And one of them is already running and live, and also the partners that we have are pretty experienced, in the industry. But even then, I was always trying to see how, whatever is the initiative that we kickstart, small or big, the efficiency and the actions in time are so important, and also bringing the right expertise to the table and what, any initiative would need. So, that's what I just wanted to share that, about my food initiatives right now in Michigan, Detroit.
Well, I'm hungry, and I'm a foodie as well. I would have loved to have visited. I used to work at the Renaissance Center for GM. So I know Michigan well, and I would have frequented your restaurant had it been there 6 years ago. Yeah, I wish you lots of luck. I think that's great. Oh, there you go. Oh, Eat Detroit. Very cool.
Yeah, this is the logo the LetUsTalkIt team came up with, to really, group all the people who are food entrepreneurs and food lovers from Michigan, because I thought that is one quick way to build the best practices for everybody's interest. Yeah.
Yeah, Absolutely. And there's a book I'm thinking, it's not the Entrepreneurial Operating System, EOS, or Traction. It was a book I read before that talks about scalability and puts it in terms of, how the McDonald's organization was able to do that in a franchise model. I'll find you. Are you on LinkedIn?
Yes, we are already connected just now, I think. Yeah, I just sent.
Okay, terrific. Well, I'll find that book. It was very helpful for me in terms of scalability. So you have a restaurant that is already, fully functioning, and then this tropical one may be in its infancy stages. So if it's of value to you, I'll send that to you. I found it very helpful.
Oh yeah, definitely. So we are building two separate teams and some common team to share the workload. Yeah, it's pretty interesting, but at the end of the day, I mean, like at the end of the week, we keep meeting for dinners and other cocktails, and also that is even more fun, experimenting a lot of things.
I'm sure. I wish you lots of luck.
Yeah, and now that we have time, let me share this other picture also that you may love. What is this? Okay, see this one. This is Gampy from the Eat Detroit ecosystem, and of course,
Oh,
the original co-founder from Cogent as well. He's a enthusiast, in making creative cocktails. So in the last weekend, all of us, had this where he made 14 plus, cocktails, and all of us filled the survey forms on to rate, each one of those cocktails.
oh, which one won? Is it the one that he's holding up?
No, I think still they're processing the results, I guess.
Oh, that's excellent. Look how creative they are. Look at the garnishes. That's amazing.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like we, originally I was thinking I was a little afraid about this new, completely new, different business domain, but we got very strong team now. And then we are adding more people and trying to, this is fun actually. So
Great for you. Oh, that looks fun.
sounds good. I think probably we lost, Sumit.
Yes, I was getting in touch with him, and he says he's getting error in trying to reconnect to the link. I tried him going to the app using the just the Zoom ID, and still cannot come through. I'm not sure what error he is getting.
Yeah, no worries. I think, maybe we can conclude for now, I guess.
I see. Okay. Well, it was such a good topic. Definitely, it's just that we have technical errors. So, yeah, we can conclude today's Zipinar session. So, we would like to give thanks to those who attended from the live platforms and for the Zoom as well, and for the director and the CEO who is here. Yeah, Harry left already, I believe. And thank you, Srini, for joining the webinar today. And you've always been in the webinars all the time, even though you are driving, so you still come up no matter what. So, and we appreciate as well that the discussion that Jamie have given to us, the ideals, and such a very clear and crisp Zipinar. So we appreciate your time, everyone. We can call it a day for today. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you again next Wednesday for two new topics and two new speakers. And all the best. Take care as always.
Thank you. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.